neat. And so we started brainstorming this idea of how do we do this healthy living, because we're aware that Duval County has the largest urban park service in the country. Is that correct, Felicia?
Yes.
And so we thought to ourselves, ARP is the largest and oldest not-for-profit, nonpartisan organization. And so ARP is an advocacy organization, but it's also our whole reason for existing is to serve, not to be served, but also help people live their best life. So Felicia and I started talking about, so how do we get people 50 plus out into the parks who haven't been exposed to the parks? And then once we get them there, how do we get them to move and stretch? But then how do we also add a fun activity while we're there? And so we've done drumming, we've done open air painting, and my painting was a mess, but we've done a whole lot of other fun things, walk with the doc. So with that, we love partnering because we want to help continue to expose people to not only ARP, but some of our resources. And so if you haven't checked us out lately, you can go to aarp.org near you, and it will put your zip code in, and it tells you the activities going on around you. And so with that, we are so happy to be here and to continue this partnership. And we have not been disappointed. And when we had to go virtual, because ARP can't do any in-person events, we put our heads together and said, okay, how do we do virtual? And so we've done some great presentations virtually. And so what it has offered is an opportunity for anyone in the country that can click onto Zoom to join us. And one time we had someone from England, I think it was. And so we have people from all over. And so we're glad that you're here, and thank you. And it is a pleasure to have AARP be a part of this partnership. And we have Ms. Deborah Williams, so I'll just say something about ARP. One of our other big initiatives is Disrupt Aging, because we know that ageism is still the most acceptable form of ism that we're trying to eradicate. And so Ms. Deborah just celebrated her 74th birthday on March 1st. And so that's why we love to brag, because we want you to know at any age and every age, do not let age be a factor to keep you from doing anything you want to do. And so with that, I turn it back to Felicia, but thank you again for being here, and what a great day it is.
Well, thanks, Justine. So yes, we also have guest Deborah Thompson and Will Dickey, and we will, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, good. And so the agenda is we're gonna do a little bit, I'm gonna do a little introduction to the Healthy Living series, and then Deborah's gonna lead us in some stretching because we need to get up and move. And then we have this exciting presentation about photography and gorgeous places right here in Northeast Florida by Will Dickey. So let me share my screen. Let me go back. So healthy living, fresh air, fitness, friendship, and fun. As Justine said, we started this program with them. It used to be in the field, and now we are virtual. And so in some ways, it allows us to reach more people. We've been able to reach out to some exciting speakers. But again, our goal is to get people out. According to the Center for Disease Control, 25% of Americans Americans do not get the recommended amount of physical exercise, and 29% engage in no leisure time exercising or activities. We also know that it is been worse during COVID, and these can lead to all kinds of physical ailments related to obesity and high blood pressure, diabetes, but also mental issues, depression, loneliness. And so studies have shown that parks provide unique opportunities to improve physical and mental health. So there's lots of, especially now, again, during COVID, lots of studies that show that being outdoors in nature can improve not only your physical health because you're out walking or riding or canoeing, but also your mental health. Just being in the woods can improve your mental state. So fortunately for us, Jacksonville, Duval County, as Justine said, has the largest urban park system in the United States. And that particular statistic is thrown out all the time. But if you hold somebody's feet to the fire, they go, oh, I've never heard of that park, or oh, I've never been there. We have up here in the Northeast, this is Duval County. Downtown is here in the middle. Up in the Northeast corner, we have more than 40,000 acres of what's managed by the National Park Service. It's the Timucuan Ecological and Historic Preserve. A lot of it is pristine wetlands, but there are areas to go to: the historic Fort Caroline National Memorial, historic Kingsley Plantation, Cedar Point, the Theodore Roosevelt area. We also have these famous state parks: Little Talbot Island, Big Talbot Island, Pumpkin Hill. And then we have a series of preservation parks, city managed preservation parks that ring the county. There's over 400 parks in Jacksonville. A lot of them are ball fields and things. We're mostly concerned with these what we call wilderness parks, a walk in the woods. So I usually show some beautiful shots here, but I don't need to do that today because Will will be doing that. But we have over 130 square miles of parks and preserves, more than 1,100 miles of tributary and waterfront property, and more than 120 miles of upland trails. So places to get healthy, places to go hiking. I love this picture because everybody can go hiking. You can be old, you can be young, you can have your dog, you can be of any color, of any race, of any nationality. It's just, most of the parks are free. The ones that aren't are like $5, but our national parks here, Theodore Roosevelt, which is a national park managed property, is free. There are some trails that are natural. Again, this kind of walk in the woods. We have other trails that are paved or boardwalk. We have places that you can go biking, again, either trails that are off-road or trails through the woods. But one other thing I want to mention, all the pictures that I'm showing today and all the pictures that Will Dickey will be showing today are right here in Northeast Florida. So, it's that staycation. These are places that you can explore anytime. Places to go kayaking or canoeing. Places, we've got lots of shoreline property, beaches, all the way from, South Jacks Beach through Atlantic Beach, Hanna Park, Huguenot, Little Talbot, Big Talbot. Places to go camping. You can camp in a little cabin, or if you're a camp in the tent type person, we have places to go camping in a tent. We have places where you can go primitive camping. Wildlife viewing, Huguenot, we've got Hanna Park. All of our parks have lots of, bird migration, to watch the birds at Huguenot in the spring is spectacular. If you go out, you can see other photographers there giving you these up close pictures of the birds. Fishing. Again, I like this picture because we do a lot of programs with children, and this is a great place to take kids or your grandkids to get away from the screens and the phone and just get some fresh air. And they're just spectacular places to just go and sit and watch and meditate and de-stress, help your mental health. So Timucuan Parks Foundation, our foundation preserves, promotes, and enhances Jacksonville's natural areas through community engagement, education, and enjoyment. We work with our park partners, the national, state, and city, and other community partners like AARP to bring people out into the parks, to do environmental stewardship, and to promote our health initiative. Just a couple of things that we do. We do volunteer projects to help our park partners. And these are also projects that you are welcome to join us with. We work with kids a lot. We do urban outreach, taking them kayaking, doing some just nature, being in nature. And they help us with service projects, service learning projects. We work with the special needs youth. We have a garden at Castaway. Again, kayaking is a great way to take kids out just who may or may not ever have a chance to do that type of activity outdoors. We do trail explorations. Just last month, we partnered with North Florida Trailblazers and did a beginning hiking for women only. And those are just a lot of fun, especially since we've opened up our new Seven Creeks recreation area. People say, I want to see that area, but I don't want to go out by myself. And so it's a chance to take people, one, it's a social activity, and also getting people outdoors. We do the veterans walks. And then our healthy living, again, an outreach to seniors to get them out, socializing, getting some physical and mental exercise. So you can learn more about us at timaquaparks.org. You can go to sign up to be a volunteer. You can go to sign up to donate or become a member. And then you can go and learn about all the different parks and where to explore.
Buddy, I appreciate it. And thanks to the Timaquan Foundation, Felicia and Maida for inviting me. It's going to be fun. We're gonna take a tour of some of the parks in the Timaquan Preserve, some of my favorite places to photograph. Felicia, am I ready just to start now, or?
You're ready to go.
Okay, all right, good. So anyway, we've seen this map before, and it's to me it's unbelievable how many natural areas we have within the city limits of Jacksonville and surrounding areas that in 20 minutes I can be at Big Talbot Island from where I live on the south side. So it's always comforting to me if I can't be out there, I can at least think about it, So now the first area we're gonna go to this morning is Big Talbot State Park, one of my all-time favorite places to photograph. I've been photographing it for ever since I came here, really. So this image here, and if you have questions about anything, just type them in, and Maida will tell me, and we'll talk about it either now or at the end. So go ahead and type your questions in. This is Big Talbot at moonrise. I found that Big Talbot Island is a morning place for me. I get my best images in the morning. So this particular morning, I got the moonrise. You can see rising above the tree there. And a little bit later, I got the sunrise in the same location. So it was a good morning. Good morning for photos. This is an older image that I did probably 17 years ago or so. And I've tried to recreate this particular photo in a slightly different format for years, and have never been able to duplicate it. So that's the thing about Florida. Your landscape changes from week to week, much less year to year. So storms and tides just kind of move everything around. This tree it finally fell during, I think, one of the hurricanes, Hurricane Matthew, I believe. But this was one of my go-to places to go before the tree fell. But it's a really neat tree. And there's more to photograph at Big Talbot than just dead trees. There's Black Rock Beach here, and that can sometimes make an interesting shot. And the island, it's a pretty big island. So if you do some exploring, you can find some pretty cool things to photograph. This is just right off the beach.
Hey, Will,
Yes, ma'am.
a quick question. Someone asked, how did you get the foreground and background in focus?
Small f-stop, f11, f16. Usually I focus about a third of the way in to the image. Here recently, I've been doing some focus stacking, which involves taking pictures with the focus at different spots in the image. And you can stack those images together in Photoshop and get something that's sharp from very close to the lens to very far from the lens. And if you just do a Google search for focus stacking or focus in photography, you can find all kinds of tutorials on websites. That's how I learned a lot of the techniques that I use for the nature photography, is just poking around on the internet. But this image here was shot in the parking lot of the Big Talbot Island, where the picnic tables are and the picnic areas. And I've been looking at this little pot of trees for many years, and finally a couple of years ago was able to make a decent picture out of it. And this area here is an area that I just stumbled on when I was actually lost trying to get back to the trail, because the tide came in and cut me off from walking down the beach. So I just hit the woods and ended up just kind of lost for a little bit. But I could probably never get back to this spot, but it was a beautiful place. Now, this is the back side of Big Talbot. This is over on the eastern or western side of Big Talbot at Sawpick Creek. And this little area I just found when I was trying to find a place to photograph this particular thunderhead. And you can see the boat ramp over there to the right. So decided to leave that in. That's a little touch of humanity there. And this image here, I think it makes a good Halloween image. I posted it during Halloween a couple of times. As it looks kind of fearsome, like a big monster cloud. And then we got the wildlife, we got snails and barnacles too. And these snails move, not very fast, but they move. So it's, they're there sometimes from time to time. And then you've got the remnants of animals. You see the little bird tracks here through the sand, a little sand dune on the northern end of the island. Sometimes you can find a comet there. This is Comet Neowise that photographed last year. So now we're going to go to Little Talbot Island, which is adjacent to Big Talbot. And it's another one of my go-to spots. Sometimes you'll go in the morning and you'll find tide pools. This morning, particular morning, was a great morning for a tide pool. And it's fascinating how the tide comes in and just carves these patterns in the sand, and it's just washes away all the footprints, and you start over again every morning. There's a lot of trails, great hiking trails at Little Talbot. Go through the dunes. This is another image that same morning of the tide pools.
Well, I've got another question.
Yes.
Do you use Photoshop for most of your photos?
I use Photoshop in addition to many other programs. I've got several programs that I use depending on what I'm trying to accomplish with an image. So yeah, but Photoshop is kind of my go-to. I kind of start with Camera Raw, which is part of Photoshop, work the image up, and then use either an HDR program or I layer the images in Photoshop to get the tonality the way I want to. That's why the highlights in the images are still have detail, and also the shadows have a lot of detail too. It's more like your eye sees it when you layer images together like this, because photography is limited into how much tones you can capture in one image. So if I need to, I'll layer images. Now that requires putting the camera on a tripod, so everything is stable, and no wind helps too. If it's windy, it complicates things because things move around. This is a beautiful little flower called a spiderwort, kind of an unfortunate name for a pretty little flower here. It's a foggy morning, one of the dunes here with a little trail. Now this guy here, I call it a guy, they say it's a female snowy owl. Probably one of the most photographed visitors ever to come to Little Talbot Island. This was 4 or 5 years ago. And I found out about it at the Times Union and went out and found the owl. And so for 2 weeks there, every day off that I had, I would go back to Little Talbot and try to get more photos of the owl. And she hung around for probably 2 weeks. And so my routine during those days off was to go, and she sat a lot. She sat all day until sunset, and then she would fly off. So, the photographers there would wait for 5 or 6 hours sometimes waiting for her to fly. I like to get pictures of birds in flight because that's kind of what they do, so so in-flight pictures are good. But I would call the ranger station and ask where the owl is, and they say, okay, go park in lot 5 and go to the beach, walk down the beach. And so I quickly figured out that if I walked down the beach and saw this, I'd found the owl. So a lot of folks there that had the same plans that I did with the owl. And this guy here was pretty creative. He made his daughter a tripod and just put his camera in the binoculars there to photograph the owl. I mean, that's why we have kids, right? All right, so Cedar Point, another one of my go-to places. Cedar Point is another morning place for me. And I have gotten some good images in the afternoon, but it usually need to get there before the sun comes up. But the trees here just amazing, just fantastic trees. And there's what I like about it is it's not overgrown. It's kind of, there's some space there that you can work with. And you've got the cedar trees there too that are there. And I think some of the last storms damaged the trees. I believe the tree on the right is still there, but it's kind of damaged a bit. But there's lots of hiking trails around Cedar Point also. Here's
Got another question for you.
Yes.
This is, do you find a lot of wildlife in the parks?
Sometimes. That's a good question. I mean, really, to be honest with you, the most encounters I have with wildlife are mosquitoes, ticks, and red bugs. So make sure you take plenty of bug spray with you when you go. But certain parks are better for especially birds than other parks. Cedar Point, you'll find a bird every now and then, but I don't really go there for the birds. We'll have some pictures coming up in a few minutes of probably the best bird place that I've found here. But for Cedar Point, it's the trails and the creek. Those areas are what and this place here too. This is the old, I think it's the Fitzpatrick plantation. And this is all that's left of it now. But it's still pretty cool when you find this place. Okay, Theodore Roosevelt area. This is the park that Willie Brown left and gave to the city of Jacksonville when he died, with the promise that it would be named the Theodore Roosevelt Park. So this is the Willie Brown Trail. This is a shell midden that's probably 30 or 40 feet high that looks out over the St. Johns River. And if you don't know what a shell midden is, it's basically 5,000 years worth of Timucuan Indians eating oysters and throwing them on the pile. And this is a pretty big pile. It's about 40 feet high, I guess. And of course now trees have grown on it and it's wilderness now, but it started out as just a pile of oysters. And well, here's a bird. It's a great blue heron that I just found. This is if you've seen the book Special Places, it's a book I did in collaboration with the Timucuan Foundation. It's on the cover of the book. Now this image here was taken on the tower that's at kind of the bottom of the trail there that overlooks the St. Johns River. And I'm showing this picture not because it's a good image, but to show you why I keep going back to places. I mean, the grass is dead, it's cloudy, the light's bad, you know, so you get what you get in nature photography. So, but you go back and you find something better, you know, when the grass is green. This area here, I had about maybe 5 minutes worth of sunshine to work with, and then it clouded up again. So a few years later, I go back and I get this. So it pays off a lot of times to keep going back. When I saw these clouds, they were kind of marching down the river and getting closer and closer to me. I said the universal photographer's prayer, which is, please, Lord, don't let me screw this up. So, and I say that a lot when I'm out photographing the parks. Hanna Park, another great park. A lot of stuff to do at Hanna, and the beach here is just really interesting. Now this was before Irma, so I don't know how much of the dunes Irma got, but I think there's probably some dunes left. I was with Mark Middlebrook when on this particular morning. He got me into the park early. Thanks, Mark. And we saw some dolphins, which is always good. And other humans fishing too, with the shrimp boat. And turtle tracks. It's a great place to for turtles to come lay their eggs. And some really cool canopied roads. A lot of people surf there too. So Seton Creek is another place that's relatively new for the Timucuan, and this little creek here is it's just west of I-95, really, but it's this vast area of marsh and swamp This is Joel's Landing area of the park. And Huguenot Park is kind of my go-to place to photograph birds certain times of the year. This is a good time of year to find especially laughing gulls and royal terns who are nesting there on the island. You can drive on the beach there, but you got to be careful to stay out of the roped off areas where the birds are nesting. But this time of year, the birds are really, really busy trying to catch little fish to feed their babies. And it's a lot of activity there, a lot of noise. You'll find out real quick why they call them laughing gulls. It is loud, but a fun place to just look around. Alamacani is cool too. Mostly people fish there, but this is the view of the Fort George River. Beautiful, beautiful place. And I threw this picture in as a black and white. Usually most of my images are taken early in the day or late in the day. This picture happened to be in the middle of the day. And it looks good in color, but it looks a lot better, I think, in black and white. So if you have a picture that may have been not taken at quite the right time of day and it's a little flat looking, try converting it into black and white and see what it looks like. You can, certain programs you can use, Photoshop or other programs, you can change the tonality to make it better. And I think these birds were shot at these could have been shot at the Joe Carlucci boat ramp. I don't know. So these may not be part of the Timucuan, but they were posing for me, so of course I had to photograph them. Tiger Point is a go-to place. It's now part of the Seven Creeks Recreation Area, and it's a lot of new amenities there. This is not really a nature photo, but I thought it was cool. The sky trails from the plains. This is after things started opening up from COVID. And this is another image that I shot in the middle of the day that came out pretty well. You can get away with middle of the day in the winter because the sun is usually at a pretty low angle throughout the day. So that's it. That's the show. Any questions?
Maida, you have anybody in the chat? I've got a bunch of comments that are, quote, beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful images.
It's beautiful. We need to get out there more. I'm recently retired from the Times-Union, and I hope to spend a lot more time in these parks because there's no better place to be. To me, this is the crowning jewel of Jacksonville, is the Timucuan Park system. Just we're so blessed to be living in an area that has these kind of areas that is open to all.
All right, we've got a few questions. So,
Well, actually, wait a minute. Will, can you stop sharing your screen for a minute?
I sure can. Well, I think I can. Let me see.
There you go. You have to go to. We're still viewing. Yeah, there you go.
Stop.
That's it.
Got it.
Because one of the questions, I'm going to jump in here, Maya. One of the questions was, can we purchase your photos? I'll let Will talk to that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you can. Glad you asked that. I forgot to mention my website is willdickey.com, Dickey. So willdickey.com, there's a lot more images of the Timucuan, a lot of other areas in this area and beyond. So yeah, you might enjoy poking around. And if when you go to the Timaquan section of my website, I post where I shot each picture. So if you see a picture that you really like the location, go see it yourself. Go Google that location. You can get maps to go to it and go see it yourself. But realize that to see it like I photographed it, you may have to get there before the sun comes up. So one of the drawbacks.
So yeah, a couple things. One is if you want to go to one of those parks, you can go to our website, timaquanparks.org, and you can go to your parks and get some information, get a trail map.
There you go.
If you're interested in purchasing one of our special places photo books, which have it's a compilation of a lot of Will's pictures, you can go to our website and you go to get involved. Let's see, go to get involved and go to special places book, and you can purchase. Yeah, so it's, it has some of these photos in there. If you want the wall size one though, you need to contact Will. You can also go to our website to find out which parks are open and when. And if there's a fee. Again, the only parks that have fees are the state parks, and those are $5, and Huguenot and Hannah are both $5. The others are free. The national parks are open Wednesday through Sunday. Somebody asked about getting in early, and I'm going to let someone else answer that question. Maida?
Most of the parks are open sunrise to sunset. So you can get there pretty early. And a lot of them are open where there's not really a gate. But if there's a gate and it's closed, I wouldn't cross it if I were you. But for the most part, yeah, you can get there pretty early and late.
Yes, like I said, the national parks have, they actually have gates, but things like Spanish Pond at Theodore Roosevelt, that doesn't really have a gate. And a lot of the preservation parks do not have any gates.
And if you ever wonder specifically, you can either call or email us because we'll tell you. I mean, we know, we can tell you right now out of our brains, oh yeah, Spanish Pond, Seton Creek, et cetera, et cetera. A couple other questions here were the best time of the year to photograph the parks, Will. Someone said summer due to the heat would probably be really obviously harsh.
Well, if I mean, I don't let summer stop me from going to the parks. I just try to go very early or very late and take a lot of bug spray. So, and that's how, and you still got to check, check your legs and all when you get back home for crawling bugs. But yeah, it's like not a big deal. You itch a little while and then it's over, but you get to see a gorgeous area. And, that like right now is starting to be a great time to get out in the parks because everything's starting to green up. You've got these beautiful spring tones, the light greens and the golds. And now I don't know if the marsh grass is greened up yet, but I like to wait for the marsh grass. Sometimes shots of the marsh are better maybe in the fall because it's had all summer to green up and get real pretty. And like right now is a good time for Huguenot Park for the birds because the birds are mating and having their little babies and their little babies are growing up. So it's a good time to get out and check them out, see what you can find.
Okay, another question was someone says, are you just retired and freelancing?
Well, yes, I'm retired from the Times Union, but it's going to be a while before I put a camera down. And freelancing, yes. You know, if something comes up, I photograph it. But for the most part, I am doing the nature photography and trying to just look for new places. I mean, I've been photographing the Timucuan Preserve for probably 35 years, but there's still places I need to go check out. So it's, you know, it can take a while.
Okay, question from Jim is, he worries about taking his camera equipment out on the water like kayaking. What equipment do you use for these outdoor shots?
Well, kayaks scare me too. I've only been out one time with my gear in a kayak, and I was a nervous wreck the whole time. Kayaks are not really made for photography unless you can find some sort of a waterproof camera or put a you know, waterproof housing over your camera. You know, you could try that. Now, when I'm out on the water, I have a little bass boat, and that's how I get out on the water, and I feel real comfortable with the cameras there because it's very stable. It's off the water, and you know, it's a nice stable platform. But kayaks, I know people do it, but I'm not one of those people.
Thank you.
I just talked to Betsy Schiffinella the other day, and she
Yeah.
and Tom had been photographing the springs, and they take their cameras out on a paddle board.
What? See that? I can't. No, I'm not going to do that. Is he using more than just his cell phone camera, or?
I think so, but she said he had some housing and
Yeah. If you've got a housing, then you got no worries. So I haven't tried that yet. That may be one of the things that I need to try. Now I do have rain gear for when it rains. But I don't know if I dunk a camera, it's I don't know.
That's going to be a big loss if that happens.
Yeah, it is.
Next question I have is from Les. He says, do you ever use a point and shoot or just your phone camera?
Well, if I'm in a situation where I don't have my real camera with me, or if it's just not worth, you know, getting the real camera out, I use my cell phone. You know, it's the quality is pretty amazing, and I've never made any big prints with it, but I don't see why you couldn't.
Okay. Next I got from Professor Ginger. What is your criteria for editing? When is an image done?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I still pull up older images that now I look at them and they need a little tweaking. So the editing process is just keeps going. But my workflow for editing pictures is photograph in raw mode for photographers out there that know what that means. And I edit in camera raw first, do my initial edit in camera raw, then I move the image or images into other programs, and I'll layer a lot of my images are layered. They're more than one image layered together to create detail everywhere in the picture, tonality everywhere. Because like I was saying earlier, one image can't capture a huge range of tones that you get a lot of times in nature. So you have to shoot 3 or 4 or 5 pictures from very dark to very light and layer those images together to get that detail. So.
Okay, thank you. The rest of the comments are people that love your large print of Round Marsh. That's Pete.
Thank you.
Someone said thank you for your presentation. If anyone wants to ask more questions, feel free to unmute and ask. Go ahead. We have a little bit of time.
Sure.
Can I ask about following up with the editing? Are you trying to recreate what you see more because our eye can see better than the camera, or more what you felt?
A little of both.
Something else.
A little of both, Ginger. It's I'm kind of a realist when I'm out photographing, but I'm also trying to convey the mood of the image and the way I remember it. And a lot of times, the way we remember an image may not be quite 100% accurate, but it's the feeling that you get. And I want to look at an image and have it bring back the same memories that I have of that particular place at that time. So it's a little of both with me. It's a little bit of artistic license, I think, but I mean, you'll find that almost all of my work it's real stuff, and I try to make it look real. I try not to get too fancy. I get out of my wheelhouse if I do that. So
Okay, thanks. That was a great answer.
thanks. Anybody else?
So Mida is recording this particular presentation. So I know there were some of the pictures that you showed, Will, that it was like, ooh, I want to sit and look at this one a little bit longer. So we'll have this on our website, and you can go back and go back, rewind to your favorite photo and put it on your screensaver and just
you can go to willdickey.com and look at the pictures. Don't move on my website, so they'll be there. And I add new images all the time to my website, so hopefully I'll be adding a lot more images in the near future when I get back out there.
Will, I've got a question, and it's are you looking forward to, are you going to be going out? I know sometimes you go to Georgia and different places to do more photography. Are you going to expand out of Timucuan Preserve and out of Florida more?
Well, I hope so. It's just depends on the circumstances. I mean, I've got a long list of places that I want to photograph. So, but the thing is, we're so fortunate here is that if you can't afford to go out west or to Canada or whatever, gosh, we got so many places around here that are just world-class locations to take pictures. And it's just, we're very fortunate to be in this location, I think.
That's a great answer. I'm going to quote you on that. Another comment, Pete says, wouldn't it violate a copyright to download the pics for a screensaver, like off your website? Do you mean, I mean, people can purchase those images, right?
Yeah, they can, but it might, but if you're using it for a screensaver, just don't tell me about it.
Well,
all right. Well, thanks to everyone for coming today. And like I said, visit Will's website, visit timucuanparks.org, visit AARP. We'll keep you informed. I think our next Healthy Living will be probably Ranger Ted Johnson with the National Park Service, Timucuan Ecological Historic Preserve, will be telling us about American Beach, which is the historic African-American beach up there on Amelia Island. Again, another place that you can go anytime, but there's a kind of a rich history there, and he'll be telling us about that.
One quick thing, Felicia, my contact information is on my website. So if you have any more questions or just, you want to chat about something, just shoot me an email or call me or whatever. I'm retired now, so, I've got time. So give me a shout.
And if you have a particularly scenic area that you think you need to show Will, I'm sure he would.
I'm always up for new places. So if you've got a place, let me know.
Real quick, there was this one final question. Someone says, do you ever use a drone?
No, but it's definitely on my list of things that I want to do. I do want to get a drone and give it a whirl, and because I think a drone, I mean, Tom Schiffinella's got this drone thing figured out. I mean, he's getting some amazing images from his drone, and I just haven't done it yet, but I'm going to.
That's great. Speaking of that, that reminds me, we have in 2019, we had the 20th anniversary exhibition featuring artwork and from Kathy Stark, photography from Will Dickey, and photography also from Tom Schiffinella. And that exhibition is at the Fernandina Beach Library right now. It's going to be packed up at the end of this month, and we're moving it. It's going to the Beaches Museum in Jacksonville Beach. So that's another great way you can connect with Will's photography and the parks in an artistic way. And we're also coming up with engagement activities, probably a range of like virtual and hybrid and maybe a small in-person things. They're being planned right now. So that's coming up as well. And that's a great way to connect, and you can you know, be up close and personal with the artwork and photography. So check our websites and our social media channels, because we'll be putting that out as soon as all the plans are made for that.
All right. Anyone else?
I think that's it.
Thank y'all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. And you are welcome to, Will, I'm going to have you stay on just a little bit longer in case somebody had a, you know, another question or a.
Yeah, I see a lot of old friends have tuned in. So thank you for that. Give me a call.
Thanks, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I was just trying to think. I had a question for Will myself, another one. I'm trying to recall it.
Oh, good. Justine, you got back on again.
Yeah. All right, y'all speak up.
Hey, Mark. You're muted.
Yeah.
I'm not now.
All right. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
I was gonna say I have a little Olympus that does I think it's about 12 megapixels.
Yeah.
Waterproof. It fits in your pocket. You know, if you need one, that's a good one to have.
I'll check that out. Yeah, 12 megapixels. There's a lot of images that I've blown up to, 40 by 60 inches that were shot with a 12 megapixel camera that look pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent little camera. I got it from my wife, but I don't think she's ever used it. Because it's usually with me. So
It's usually in your pocket.
Need to.
But it's good up to like 50 feet waterproof underwater.
Cool.
And you can drop it as long as you're not 7 feet is okay. 7 feet 1 inch is bad, but it's shockproof, so it's pretty
just
tough.
drop it in the grass and you should be okay.
Yeah. So we got to go down here soon.
Yeah, I'm ready. Give me a shout.
So Mark Gabrinowitz, are you still photographing things?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm busy with a bunch of stuff. The Atlantic Beach Arts Market is a great place for photographers and artists. Both Jeannie and I have our walls there, and I'm still looking at stuff, and Ginger knows this, trying to do stuff in my backyard. So I echo Will's comments about we've got great places here, but you don't have to take too many steps outside your backyard door or front yard to see all kinds of insects and interesting plants and interesting combinations of things. So there's certainly a lot out there. And yes, if you can travel, the national park system is a great park system, and you just need to go at the right time of year, because as Will was saying, the timing is everything in photography. And as Ginger used to say, the best tool you have in photography are your feet. If you don't like what you see, just move. So that's really, really important to get the right shot at the right time and move your feet to change the focus or whatever, what the aspect. And composition is really important. And it's really, if you do a lot of post-processing, you still have to start with a good picture. So you really need to practice on your composition and what you see through the lens. That's really, really critical. So thanks for Ginger and all the instructions she's given me and the opportunity with TPF to do the things I did with them. That was a lot of fun. Appreciate all that, and look forward to meeting Will sometime in the near future.
Excellent. Yeah, Mark liked to do, for a while there, he was doing the really close up of the, like you had, when you showed the picture of the snails on the log, that reminded me of you, Mark. So
Oh yeah, and the focus stacking, that's not for the faint of heart.
Mark, I was going to tell a story, but I didn't think people would get it, but I know you'll get it. When I was focusing on those snails on the log, it looked like I was getting some movement within the picture, and I thought, oh, that's just the vibration reduction kicking in. And then I thought, wait a minute, this lens doesn't have vibration reduction, and it was the movement of the snails. And they're really slow, but they do move. So I sometimes I call that image snail race.
Yeah, I was trying to take a picture of a frog, it was about maybe a ½ inch long. I was trying to take a picture, and it kept on moving. I said, well, maybe if you just boil them, it'll be okay. But I decided, no, that's I should not boil the frog and then take a picture.
Well, you can always catch them and put them in the freezer for a little while.
Yeah, that works.
Slow it down.
Slows them down. Yeah. But Cumberland Island too is another great place for photography. There's all kinds of things out there, and
I've taken pictures there for the Times Union, but not for myself too much. So I need to get back up there some.
Ginger hooked me up with doing some work with Cumberland Island out there, and had access to anything I wanted, and it was, I mean, including crawling around the attic of some of the old buildings that were still there.
Wow.
It was a little scary because I was afraid of falling through two or three flights of floors, but I survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Might be some critters up in there too.
Oh yeah. I don't think the park rangers like me crawling around up here, but I said it was okay.
Hey, Will, Justine had a question. She's saying, are there any beginner classes that you can recommend?
Oh, wow. I tell people just to check out FSCJ. I know they've got classes in basic photography, and possibly UNF. I'm not sure. I haven't really checked for a while. But that would be a great place to start, is just go to the FSCJ website and see what they have to offer.
And UNF has those Ollie classes. I don't know if I'm sure they have a photography one.
Yeah.
And I think some of those, or you can audit a class also if you're a certain age and you don't have to, I don't think you have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also continuing ed classes at a lot of the high schools that I don't know if they're doing them now because of COVID, but once this is over, they have those continuing ed classes that you go to the high school for 6 weeks. They're for adults.
Mm-hmm.
And they have beginning, and photography is always in there.
Cool.
I had a comment about the kayaking comment a while back, because I will have my iPhone and taking pictures as I'm out and about on a kayak. And I actually have a tiny little bag that it was a freebie from AARP. And it's a little, just a little bag like this big to fit your stuff, like when you're maybe on a trail. And I just put it around my neck and I put my phone. So I bring it out, but I'm always super nervous when I'm out there going, oh, it's a miracle I haven't dropped it yet. So.
Well, iPhones aren't cheap, that's for sure.
I know.
But I have I think it's called a life-proof case that's supposed to be waterproof, but I haven't tested it. So yeah. I don't know if it is or not.
How do you test that? Maybe with old equipment, or I don't know.
put it in the sink. I don't know. But if it doesn't work, well, I guess you could take the phone out of it and then put the case back together and dip it in the water and see how it does.
Easy way is putting a piece of tissue paper inside of it and a rock and have it go down.
Yeah.
If the tissue paper gets wet, I wouldn't put my camera in it.
Right. Or at least don't dunk the camera.
All right.
Good idea.
So Maida was able to record this, Will.
Oh,
So
cool.
she'll, she'll edit it a little bit, take out a little of the beginning, a little bit of the end. And then that'll actually go on our website, but she can also send that to you probably through a WeTransfer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, just edit out all the dumb things I said.
No, we're all in the same boat. We're just glad, things don't shut off and that things work. So
Yeah, this technology is amazing. This 2020 was the year of Zoom for sure.
I wish I'd bought stock back in February 2020.
Or 19.
Oh my gosh.
My computer froze and I was thinking, oh no, is it still going? It just shut me totally out. She said, go out and come back in. I'm thinking, no, I can't do that. It shut everything down. So I was able to get back on another computer. So
Okay.
we learned. And so Will, thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
thank you very much.
for having me.
Absolutely.
Excellent.